Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the show. It is Denise. You are watching Speak Now Pro Wrestling November 23rd here on F4W Online. And we got AEW Dynamite to talk about here today. It is Thanksgiving Eve. So tomorrow's Thanksgiving. Woo! We get to eat tons of food. Yay! And not have anybody's judge us. Woohoo! So I'm in a good mood, I gotta tell you. Because, it's the holidays are here and I'm going on vacation tomorrow, and I just feel really light and very, very happy. AEW Dynamite was really good today. We have a lot to talk about. Overall, I'm kind of just floating and enjoying everything so far today. We got so much to talk about, and I'm seeing so many different comments coming in. We're talking about the crowd tonight because they were absolutely like batshit crazy today, but like in a good kind of way, because it was very exciting. Like, in terms of the crowd today, with Chicago and the Elite being back after all of the drama with CM Punk and everything that occurred at All Out, this was a crowd that I was supremely jealous that I wasn't there to experience it, because I do not remember the last time that I think a crowd was like this, in the sense that everybody was so passionate and everybody was so split on what they were passionate about, because it got to the point where I was trying to make out what people were saying, and I was like shoving my ear thingies all the way inside my ear, and I could only make out some of what was being said because there was so much coming from one side, and then the whole other side would come in and drown them out, and then they drown the other side out. So it was a lot, and I was living here for it. I think the crowd was just tremendous here tonight, and I would have loved to be there. I would have loved to experience it, but either way, we got a lot of good stuff in here. All righty. So before we get into everything, as you all know, this is a very interactive show. So please send in your thoughts in the comments. If you're shy, do not be shy. Let us know your opinions and all of that. And I will make sure to pull some up throughout the show here today. On top of that, if you do want to help support me, help support this podcast, it literally means the world to me. If you guys do send in a super chat, you can send one in at any point, and it also helps you get your question, your comment, your statement, your recipe, whatever it is. It gets them read here on the stream. So, fancy stuff. We got our first super chat of the day, and this is from Grapple Geekery, who says there was some elite level trolling tonight. Oh yes, there was. And here's the funny thing, and I know we're going to talk more about this when we actually talk about the elite and the Death Triangle and all of that, but it was funny because when Kenny Omega hit the GTS, right, I'm like, bro, I had just read and done a whole story on, so Kenny Omega did an interview with Sports Illustrated. I don't know how many of you guys saw that. And in there, he was basically saying that he wants people to stop talking about it, to let it go. He was like Elsa from Disney, let it go. And saying that there's nothing else there, that it's not the elite against CM Punk, this and that, right? And I'm like, you know what? I like everything that Kenny Omega said here. I highly doubt we're ever going to stop talking about it. I'm sorry, but it's just something that people are going to want to talk about, like, no matter what. Even if we're a little bit of exhausted talking about it, if a new detail comes out or some new, outrageous, I don't know, something happens, you're going to talk about it again. I mean, when this whole like AEW, when the scrum happened with CM Punk and then the whole backstage thing happened, everybody, and I mean everybody, people that were super casual wrestling fans, people that weren't even wrestling fans but knew that I liked wrestling, saw it on Twitter or they saw it somewhere online and they brought it up to me. I mean, this was something that attracted people that don't even watch wrestling on a regular basis or just tune in every now and then. So yeah, it's always going to be something that we talk about. It's always going to be there. So anyways, that was something that Kenny Omega said during that interview, but I was like dying because then he did the GTS and I was like, okay, We're doing a little bit of trolling here tonight, but either way, it was a lot of fun. I had a good time with it. Heidi Ho is not a bot, sends in a super chat saying the worst Dynamite in the history of the company with the most worthless main event of any wrestling show in recent memory. What? Heidi Ho, what? I was not expecting this super chat whatsoever. I did not think that Dynamite was bad. I enjoyed the main event. I had a really good time today. I gotta tell you, I'm a little bit blown away here. And I'm curious to see if anybody else felt this way. I feel like for the most part, I thought it was a really good show. But thank you so much to Heidi Ho is not a bot. Hey man, if you think that the show sucked, if you thought the main event sucked, or you thought whatever sucked, you are more than welcome to send in a super chat. I will read it. I will put it out here. Watch, we're gonna get like some really like Denise sucks super chats or something, and I'm gonna have to like, literally have egg on my face and read my own Denise sucks super chats. Hey man, I will take it. Heidi Ho is not a bot. Thank you so much for sending your opinion in. Alrighty, so that's very interesting because everyone here is going nuts about this. There's some people that don't like it here, but let's get into it. All right, so let's go with William. We got some people agreeing with that super chat, by the way. We got a little bit of a split chat in here. I'm seeing some people saying no, they don't agree, and I'm seeing some people say that they do agree. So I don't know. We'll find out where you guys are at with all of this. I love it, though. It's getting the conversation moving. So thank you very much. All right. So we got the opening of the show. We got William Regal. And this was already pre-announced that he was going to come out and speak to the people after his actions at Full Gear. And so he basically comes out, and during the beginning of this, instantly you're already hearing these massive CM Punk chants, basically through the freaking roof. And William Regal's talking about how MJF is not going to be there. And he said he's on set in Hollywood. As you guys know, he's part of the Iron Claw cast. So he's probably out here shooting that. I don't know. I forget where they're shooting that. So we get some fuck you Regal chants, and this was my favorite part because the crowd is like, fuck you, Regal, right? Like they're doing the fuck you, Regal chants. And Regal, because he's so fancy, he's just like, that is so uncouth. Uncouth, ladies and gentlemen. Now, William Regal's a lot fancier than I am. So unfortunately, I was that dumb person that had to go and Google exactly the proper definition of uncouth. I mean, I've had a feeling and kind of knew what it meant, but I wanted to get like the actual description there. But I thought it was pretty hilarious because only William Regal, if someone is cursing in your face, telling F you, whatever your name is, nobody in their right mind would turn around and say, that is so uncouth. No, you would be going off like all crazy and stuff. So anyways, that really popped me. I thought that was very freaking hilarious. But anyways, this is all leading to the whole drama between the Blackpool Combat Club, because ever since William Regal turned on Moxley, you're wondering like, what the hell is going to happen? What's going to happen with the BCC? Are they going to break up? What the hell is going to happen? So Moxley comes out and he's freaking pissed, okay? He's ready to go to town on William Regal, and Bryan Danielson is like, no. You know what? We've all done bad things in our lives, and I just feel that, you should take it easy on Regal and you should not hurt him. And at one point, he gets on his knees. He starts begging, and then he even slaps Jon Moxley across the face. And he basically explains to Moxley why he loves William Regal. He even plays the daughter card on Jon Moxley. And I'm thinking here like, oh my God, Bryan Danielson. I got a lot of, I kind of got some heel vibes here from Bryan Danielson. I kind of got that. I feel like we should not be trusting Bryan Danielson. Jon Moxley should not be trusting Bryan Danielson based on how protective he was of William Regal. So to me, I'm a little bit apprehensive right now on Bryan Danielson, and I have a feeling that he's probably going to side. I don't know what's going to happen. Truthfully, I don't know. But the vibes that I got here today is don't trust Bryan Danielson, at least based on what we saw here today. Moxley isn't falling for any of this. He doesn't care about Bryan Danielson's pleas or anything like that. He goes up to William Regal's face and he's like, "Your lordship." run far away and never come back. And then, ladies and gentlemen, one of my favorite chants in wrestling, always one of my favorite chants, because nothing hurts more than being kicked out, being sent to the back, and the crowd chanting, "Na na na na, na 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 na, goodbye." I love that. Anytime we ever get that in pro wrestling, I am exhilarated beyond belief. So we got those chants from Chicago here tonight as William Regal basically walks himself to the back. So I like this. It's making you wonder what the hell is going to go down with the BCC. I'm seeing an expiration date on the Blackpool Combat Club for sure. Okay. I'm seeing this expiration date. I don't know where Bryan Danielson's loyalty is going to side. I don't know. I'm a little bit torn here. I'm a little bit undecided, but let's see what you people here are saying. We got a super chat here from Danny Padilla. Thank you so much to Danny. Danny says, "Hi, Denise. Figured the Elite would probably get booed no matter what, so they just decided to go with it, and it was obviously brilliant. Any plans for tomorrow? Happy Thanksgiving." So yeah, I mean, that was one of the things that, you knew there was going to, because Chicago is, it belongs to CM Punk. So you were wondering like what it was going to be like. Were you going to get complete, totally everybody cheering for CM Punk? Were you going to get the crowd split? I really didn't know what to expect. And we ended up getting a split crowd, which was, very just, oh my God, it's just so crazy to like even think about, because I go back and I just think about, absolutely everything that has happened, since, I go back to when all of the rumors first started coming out and the reports that CM Punk was even coming back to wrestling. And you guys know CM Punk's like my favorite freaking wrestler besides Chris Jericho. So when this happened, I was just so over the freaking moon. I was so freaking excited. Like, oh my God, CM Punk's coming back to wrestling. And then I remember the post show. I remember the post show that I did following his return when he came to AEW on Rampage. And I remember that show, and I remember how excited everybody was, and how, just how good it felt, And he finally wins that AEW World Championship. I remember being so crushed for him, so heartbroken when he had to come out and basically say that he had to basically step away for a bit because of the foot injury and all of that. And I remember being so bummed out about that. Then he finally gets the championship again, and this is in Chicago, and you have the crowd going nuts, going mad, and this and that. And they're like, yay, CM Punk's champ again. And I remember tweeting like, here we go. We're finally going to see the CM Punk AEW championship reign that we were expecting. And boy, did that tweet age very poorly, very fast. And, it's a freaking roller coaster. And now here we are, the first, Dynamite in Chicago without CM Punk, with the Elite after the events that occurred. This story is freaking crazy. Like, just thinking about it all, and I didn't even highlight every single detail, but it's freaking nuts. As for my plans for tomorrow, thank you, Danny. I'm heading over to Vancouver for just vacation. So I will just be gone for vacation, just enjoying myself, trying to have a good time, trying to relax. I need to relax. Thank you to Danny Padilla for the super chat here. Much appreciated. We got a couple more. This is from Hunter Tillman. Thank you so much to Hunter, who says, "I, for a matter of fact, enjoyed tonight's show." Thank you so much to Hunter for sending this in and for also sharing your opinion. The Cooge97 sends in a super chat saying, "Happy Thanksgiving, Denise. Great AEW Dynamite. Sending mis gracias and flores to Thunder Rosa. Eres la mera mera. Heal up, and Al Cooge awaits your return." Thunder Rosa is definitely going to be a huge topic here tonight, because there is a lot that unfolded in regards to the AEW women's division, and just pretty much where we're at with all of that. Because this thing has layers, guys. Like, this is an onion. You just keep peeling it, and there's more and more layers to the whole, to everything surrounding all of this. But thank you so much to the Cooch97 for also sending this one in. We got Heidi Ho is not a bot, sends in a super chat saying, How the F is MJF not on the show? How is anybody okay with that? He's the new champion. So, in the media scrum, he had actually said he wasn't going to, maybe, okay, so, I've watched it. I was there, and then I've probably watched it maybe 3 or 4 times back now, but MJF does say afterwards that he closes it off by telling the people at the media scrum, saying like, oh, I'm going to be on set right after this. I'm flying out, and I'm going to be on set for for the Iron Claw, right? I don't think he actually said the Iron Claw, but that's what he was basically saying, that he wasn't going to be there. But he didn't specifically say he wasn't going to be there. And then there was also another portion where he did say like, oh, make sure to tune into AEW Dynamite. But I pretty much was under the impression this entire time that he wasn't going to be on Dynamite tonight, because they didn't announce anything for him. They announced Regal, but I think once they announced Regal, I pretty much took that. I took that, and also him saying that he was going to be basically flying out on set. I took that as, don't expect to see MJF on Dynamite here tonight. And I get it because, it's Chicago, and, it's obviously the post Full Gear show. He's champion. I didn't necessarily mind it, just because I felt like there was a lot already on the show. Clearly, you obviously always want your champion, but I think I'm okay with it. Like, I'm perfectly fine with waiting to see MJF next week. Like, I'm totally cool with that. I felt like we had a lot today. And I think if this show today would have sucked, or or if something wasn't that great, then I'd be like, yeah, you know what? We should have had MJF here. But clearly, I kind of was already under the impression that he wasn't going to be here tonight. So thank you so much to Heidi Ho for sending in the super chat as well. Sean is, excuse me, I'm trying to what's the name? Sean Ciarani, and you've sent in super chats before, but clearly my brain is just like, Sean says, hi Denise, haven't caught one of these in a long time, but long story short, you rock. See what happens when you're gone for a bit, Sean? I messed up your last name, and I've read it correctly before. But regardless, thank you so much for the generous super chat. It's much appreciated. We got Murad Agami, who says, the trios match made me feel like Punk will return. Do you think this match makes more or less likely for it to happen? I think it was more so the reaction from the crowd, because they were so divided, and because, CM Punk, he obviously wasn't there, but he was on the top of all of our minds today because of all of everything that was going down, whether the crowd chants, the just everything. So I can't even say whether or not I'm expecting to see CM Punk in AEW. I just come back to AEW. I just feel there's still so much more that we don't know. And based on all of these different reports that are coming out, and it makes you, so far right now, I'm on the side of, not the side, but right now my feeling is that we're probably not going to be seeing CM Punk in AEW, based on the reports that have come out where, certain talents have said that they don't want to work with CM Punk, and, just all of that. And even seeing CM Punk on commentary recently for the MMA stuff that he does, and kind of throwing a little bit of some references in there, he seems very relaxed, and he's seeing it all kind of, it seems like, he's having a good time joking about it. But I don't know, right now, just my gut feeling is I don't think we're going to see CM Punk, at least not in AEW, for a very long time. But I just don't know. Selfishly, I would like to see him back, but because I would love to see the story kind of unfold on TV, and, for them to do business from this. I would like to see that. Sue me, I would like to see that. But I just think about everything else. This isn't just about that. There's so much more that comes with that. So I feel like right now it's probably not going to happen, but who knows, guys? Who knows? Murad, thank you so much for sending in the super chat. It's very, very appreciated. Thank you very much. All right, so now let's go ahead and continue on with this here. We got a quick backstage segment with Swerve and Keith Lee. They're wanting to talk privately, so there's not much more to go off of that right now. Based on the events that went down at Full Gear, who knows where Swerve and Keith Lee are at? So they gotta see if they can mend this friendship. What the hell is going to happen there? I don't know. Orange Cassidy, Jake Hager for the AEW All Atlantic Championship. Now, I think this was probably my least favorite thing on AEW today, mainly just because this was pretty much this was a comedy match. Like, this is what it was. It was a comedy match. It's not really my cup of tea. It's not my bread and butter. It's not really what I particularly enjoy. But this was basically, oh my God, the focus was on Jake Hager's hat. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that this silly purple buckets hat, whatever the hell they're called. I thought they were called fisherman hats. I don't know, whatever they're called. Who would have thought that that would end up being one of the major focuses in this match, and in particular for Jake Hager? Like, what? It's so ridiculous. It's so freaking ridiculous. And it was funny because I posted a screenshot and I was laughing at somebody's comment because I posted a screenshot of Jake Hager and there was a fan sign and it just said hat, and they had a drawing of the purple hat, which I thought was great, by the way. A lot of great artwork tonight. And I posted, like, y'all need to stop lying to Jake Hager about this dang hat, right? Because it's hideous. Well, someone commented saying, Denise, let him enjoy his hat. This is the most over he's ever been. And then I kept seeing more comments saying this is the most over Jake Hager has been, and it's because of the hat, and the hat has gotten him over, and this and that. And I'm thinking to myself, holy cow, this hat, this ridiculous purple hat, is somehow working for Jake Hager. Cool. It's totally not for me. I'm not really finding the comedy in the hat. Like, I find the comedy more so in terms of, like, that it's ironic because the hat just makes zero sense. But when the hat becomes part of this actual match, I think that's kind of where I had a little bit of an issue with it, where there was a moment where Jake Hager was going to, he could have won this match. I mean, I wasn't expecting him to, but just for argument's sake, he could have won this match. But Orange Cassidy realizes that if he takes the hat off and he throws it to the other side of the ring, that Jake Hager is going to go freaking bananas. And so this basically allows Orange Cassidy to get the win. And I'm like, really? Jake Hager, you lost because your hat got taken off your head and thrown to the other side of the ring? What? So when it becomes part of the match, I'm not too crazy about it. So for this was just to me a way to pass some time, and that was it. But this was probably my least favorite my least favorite match of the actual night. But regardless, we did get some pretty interesting stuff that came out of this, because we had QT Marshall come out. He comes out with the factory, and I'm thinking, like, oh, we're gonna, who knows where this is gonna go, right? Like, I wasn't really that interested. And then, lo and behold, QT's mic just stops working. He's like muted, and he's walking to the ring and you can't hear anything he's saying. And I'm thinking, oh, that's rough. He's going to have to walk all the way over there and someone's going to have to bring him a microphone. So I totally fell for this microphone thing where where it wasn't working, right? I don't know if that was part of it. I'm assuming it was part of it. But then afterwards, the lights go down. Everything goes down, the lights. And I've mentioned this before, but some of the reveals that we've gone in from AEW with the lights down, let's all remember Satnam Singh. It doesn't always, because of Satnam Singh, I have a little bit of some like PTSD when the lights go down, okay? The lights go down and I'm thinking, oh God, this is going to be either really bad right now or something really good. Like, you never know what to expect from AEW when the lights go down. It's like a box of chocolate. You either get stuck with cherry flavor or you get some milk chocolate, okay? The point is that, so the lights come back on, and I freaking loved this part, okay? Because the lights come back on, but instead they do this camera shot where they make their way up the ramp, and it leads to Julia Hart, and she's there with like all of this red lighting and fog and this and that, and she's got her gothic look, and she's doing her bewitching thing, and she's like, oh, rising from, I mean, she's not rising from the ashes, but it just had like a really big, like, grand feel to it, and she looks so evil. Oh, I loved it. I was so here for this. And then, I don't know, she like does something with her hands. I'm gonna guess she's like summoning. I don't know. The House of Black is then revealed to be inside the ring, and they pretty much attack all these guys, and they end up they end up at the top of the stage afterwards, and the House of Black is back. And Malachi Black grabs the microphone and he just tells everybody, members of the House of Black, rise. And so that was the return of the House of Black. We have not seen Malachi Black since All Out. And truthfully, because of everything that was, I mean, it was kind of a little bit of a, I don't know how to describe this period. It was a little bit rough because there was a lot of he said, she said going on with Malachi Black in terms of, what he was putting out there in terms of statements and then kind of going back on what he said. And then Tony Khan was saying things in interviews on Busted Open Radio, and these things were being quoted. And then Malachi Black was saying it wasn't true. So there was a lot of he said, she said between Malachi Black, Tony Khan, the reports that we were seeing out on, out in the media. There was just a lot of miscommunication. Not miscommunication, misunderstanding. There was a lot of, it was a freaking mess. Like, I'm just going to say it was a mess, man. Like, I was just seeing everything that was coming out in regards to all of this. And I'm thinking, okay, a lot of stuff here isn't making sense, really. So truthfully, I wasn't even really I knew that Tony Khan had said, because Tony Khan had said that Black had like X amount of years still left on his contract. I think it was 5, if I remember correctly. And then Malachi Black is basically saying he's at one point saying he's gone, he's released, and then he takes it back and says that's not true. It was just a lot. So it got to the point where I started thinking, man, I'm not even expecting to see Malachi Black back in AEW. And then we're seeing everybody's taking some time off, and it's just a whole thing. So I was kind of bummed about that because I wanted to see House of Black continue on in AEW. Like, I freaking love them as a group. I feel like, unfortunately, I haven't felt like the booking has always been so great for them. I did think that there were certain times where, it was a little weird that they weren't really like a focal point. And, that was a whole discussion even amongst, here on the show and, in places in social media and whatnot. But either way, I was hoping to see the House of Black back in AEW. And I also wanted to see the story unfold with Julia Hart. I think Julia Hart's addition to the House of Black has been absolutely phenomenal. I've been so excited, and we've only barely started to see what their plans are with her and the group. So I'm excited to see what they do, and I'm hoping that this booking of the House of Black is maybe a little bit different in the sense that I'm hoping it feels a little bit more important than some of the stuff that they were doing prior. So we'll see how that all works out. But let's see what you guys are thinking here. This is Heidi Ho. It's not a bot who sends in a super chat saying, I'm catching heat in the chat, but how is it okay to have someone win a bout and not be on the next TV show? It makes no sense. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have said this before on the show, and I will say it again. You can send in your hot opinions, it's hot takes. You can send in your hot takes, your opinions here. My favorite thing about having a wrestling podcast is having people send in their different opinions and seeing how people feel about them, because it's entertainment. We all are going to react differently to what you're seeing on the freaking screen. And I get it. Like, you want to see MJF. Like, MJF is the man of the freaking hour right now. I don't feel as passionately in terms of like being upset about him not being on today's show, but I can see how some people, will feel that way, because come on, like, you just won the title and you're like excited. You're excited to start this new, MJF era in AEW. So thank you so much to Heidi Ho is not a bot. And if you too want to send in your questions, your hot takes, your opinions, whatever the hell it is, a poem, please do. You can send in a super chat at any point in time. Thank you so much to Heidi Ho is not a bot. We got a super chat here from Heidi Ho who says Julia Hart looked cool. She really did. She always does too. I really want to get an interview with Julia Hart soon. I'm working on it, guys. I'm trying to get interviews, but it's a little tough. But I'm trying. Your girl's trying, okay? Consistently, I'm knocking on them doors all the dang time. All right, so let me go ahead and catch up here with the chat, everybody, since I know everybody's going nuts. All right. Sean says Denise loves chat violence. Hey, man, I've been known for digging the violence, all right? I'm here for the blood. I'm here for, like, if you guys want to start like throwing freaking light tubes in the chat, man, I am here for it. All right. Next up, we got the AEW Eliminator Tournament Finals, and we got Ethan Page versus Ricky Starks. Now, I am over the moon, everybody, because my two picks heading into this, when we were doing our little tournament predictions here on AEW, my post show, I was literally going to say here on AEW Dynamite. This is not AEW Dynamite, but here on this post show, my two picks were Bandito and Ricky Starks for two totally different reasons, but I was totally cool with either of those two men winning this tournament. And I had a feeling, I was like, man, just, it's probably going to be Ethan Page. Then I was thinking, they're probably going to go a whole different direction, blah, 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 right? But my personal, way that I wanted things to happen was for Bandito or Ricky Starks to get the win. This match, so Ricky Starks comes in and he's pretty much taped up. He's taped up from the ribs. He's taped up from the shoulder, etc. So the man's not looking, too great. He's not looking 100%. So throughout this entire match, you literally see him, out of breath. He's hurting. He's in pain. And obviously Ethan Page, being a smart competitor with a strategy, making sure to try to implement more pain onto Ricky Starks. So he was doing things that were, definitely not making Ricky Starks feel any better. And there was some really good stuff because Starks, regardless of, what he was going through, he was still, trying to make it happen. He was not giving up. He was still trying to win this match. He even sacrifices his own body. And early on in the match, we see him hit a spear. And, at that moment, he, it didn't really look like it was paying off because it looked like it hurt him more than it did Ethan Page. And then there was a moment where he goes for a dive to the outside, and this was brutal. I thought this was it for Starks right here. I lost faith here. So Starks goes out for a dive, right? He's putting his body on the line. He's risking it all. And Stokely Hathaway pushes Ethan Page out of the way. And so Ricky Starks just freaking lands so ugly on the mat. He just crumbles down, guys. Oh, it was brutal to see. And so the referee kicks out Stokely Hathaway. Good. And finally, we get back into the ring. We get some more good stuff in here. This was a lot of fun. We see Starks hit a superplex off the top rope. We see Page hit him with a roundhouse kick. And then for the finish, we finally see Starks hit a second spear and then a third spear. And then he finally gets this victory. So I was so freaking happy that Starks got the win here, guys. I've been saying this for a bunch, man, but this really does feel like it's going to be that next step, that next level for Ricky Starks. Like, the dude's got it all. He's good in the ring. His promo skills are great. He's got charisma. I feel like he kind of has all the tools, to be at a higher level on AEW. And the fact that he's going to be wrestling MJF at Wintrust coming, I'm looking forward to that for multiple reasons. One, he's going to be the first challenger to MJF. Obviously we're not expecting MJF to lose, right? But that doesn't, to me, it's kind of a little bit besides the point, because I feel like they could do a lot in this. Like, we got a couple of weeks because it's not till December 14th. So we got a couple of weeks here so they could build a really nice story and, maybe even make some people think that there could be a chance that MJF lose. Obviously, you want to, maybe make, maybe fool the crowd a little bit with that. So I'm excited to see a lot of the promo work between these two, because we've seen a lot of good promo work from Ricky Starks, and we already know MJF. MJF's on a whole other level. But the point is that I want to see the promo exchanges between Ricky Starks and MJF. I think they're going to be really good. So I'm looking forward to that, and I think that Ricky Starks is going to be a really good first challenger for MJF. And this is exciting. I'm excited. Legitimately excited. As for Ethan Page, I do feel bad because if he would have won, I honestly thought this would have been great for him too, because let's be real, this win would have also propelled him to that next level on AEW. And it's just, unfortunately, it really didn't feel like his time. And the crowd, I thought that the crowd was way more behind Ricky Starks than they were Ethan Page. So either way, either one of these guys, whoever would have won, it would have benefited either. But I think Ricky Starks was definitely the right call here. yeah, I'm looking forward to all of that. All right, moving on from here. Let's get into the good stuff, everyone. Let's get into the meat of this show. And that was the Elite versus the Death Triangle in their second match of their best of 7 for the AEW World's Trios Championship. Jesus Christ, where do I begin with this? This was nuts, all right? This was nuts. Nuts and bananas. You put it in there. It was crazy, all right? The match itself, it was just action freaking packed, okay? It was fun. It was what you would expect, a bunch of high level, agility that we were seeing from all of these guys, all right? We've seen these guys work before. We just saw them at Full Gear. You guys know what I'm talking about. There was a moment, my favorite part in this match was in the beginning, very, very in the beginning. We see Phoenix do a tornado to the outside, and I felt just like so freaking goddamn moved because you have the Lucha Bros, obviously along with Pac, but you have the Lucha Bros out there fucking killing it. I'm so goddamn proud of them. And then you get everybody chanting, ole, 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 ole. And at the same time, what are you seeing in the crowd? I saw like 2 big giant Mexican flags. And I just thought, fuck yes. Like whenever, I'm sorry, for those of you who do not know, I'm Mexican. So to any time I freaking get to see get to see them freaking thrive, I'm like, yes, you don't know how exciting that is for a lot of people. So anyways, I was fucking over the moon with this, and pardon all my, naughty language, but I can't even describe to you how exciting that was to see. Anyways, but that's not even the thing that we need to talk about. The thing that we need to talk about is how freaking nuts the crowd was going, because we talked about this earlier. We didn't know what to really expect. Was this going to be, 100% of the crowd, freaking pissed off at the Elite and going nuts for CM Punk? Were we going to get a split crowd 50-50? What were we going to get here? We really weren't that sure, right? So we ended up getting a split crowd is what we got. We had people chanting literally everything. CM Punk, fuck CM Punk. They were chanting for the Elite, and then fuck the Elite. It was just non-freaking stop. And it was the thing where one group would start up and, whoever side they were on, they would start up and, all of that would get really fired up. And then quickly after, you'd hear the other side get really, really dang fired up. And so it just culminated into sound. At one point, all you were just hearing was sound. I couldn't even make out some of the stuff that was being said at one point because it all kind of got drowned out, where you were hearing boos and cheers and yelling and everything. It was phenomenal. I love this. I think this really just, even with the crowd's energy and then the energy that you were seeing in the ring, it was just 2-on-2, man. We did end up seeing the Death Triangle get the win here, and it is now 2-0. And again, we saw the use of that hammer. I was laughing though, because I don't know how many of you guys played close attention to, I think it was Matt Jackson. He got the hammer and he's thinking he's all smart and he's going to get back at them for what they did at Full Gear. And the dude starts licking the hammer. And I'm like, bro, he's really going off, licking that hammer like there's no tomorrow. I'm like, bro, someone tell Matt Jackson that's not a popsicle. It's a dirty hammer. And he's out there just licking it like there's no tomorrow. Anyways, we're 2-0. And next week we are getting the third match. But this was definitely, I think, the craziest the crowd's going to be because, of course, it was Chicago. All right, let's get some thoughts into this, everyone. And also, I'm pretty sure we're going to get a match 7. If we don't get a match 7, I'm going to freaking riot, because match 7 is supposed to be taking place in Los Angeles, and I'm supposed to be there. All right, Heidi Ho is not a Heidi Ho, it's not a bot, sends in a super chat saying, Omega and the Bucks return to Dynamite. Should have been huge deal, but for some reason, I couldn't give a F. Thank you so much to Heidi Ho, it's not a bot, for also sending in this super chat. Alrighty, and let's press on and see what else we got. Friendly reminder, guys, if you do want to get your question, your comment, your statement, please. Oh, and I forgot to mention, we also saw And because I mentioned it earlier, so I forgot to mention it in the match recap, we did see Kenny Omega hit a GTS BTW. So that was definitely something. All right. And YT says Matt Jackson licked a thumbtack sneaker at All Out last year. I don't think he cares. You're probably right, but still, regardless. All right, let's go ahead and move on from this, everyone. Let's get into another hot topic. And this hot topic is the AEW women's division. God, I feel like the AEW women's division is always a hot topic at this point. Like there's always something going on that we're talking about, right? Okay, so they sent out Renee Paquette, and I think the fact that they sent out Renee Paquette to do this announcement was brilliant because absolutely nobody hates Renee Paquette. She is loved by all, okay? So she could go out there and she could literally be like, your cat died. And people would be like, oh, it'd be terrible, right? But I'm just trying to think of something. All right. Anyway, so Renee goes out there and, she is in charge of making this announcement. She says that she's making an announcement in regards to the AEW women's division and a huge change. And I don't know why, but it didn't instantly pop into my mind that there might be a relinquishing of the title. I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know. Didn't give me enough time to think because she pressed on. So Renee says, quote, AEW management has been forced to ask Thunder Rosa to relinquish the championship. So she says they basically came to an agreement and that Jamie Hayter is not the interim AEW Women's Champion, but she is now the AEW Women's World Champion. So she's no longer with the interim in this. She's the champ, period, hands down. She is the champ. So she comes out, Jamie Hayter, and Renee asks her, like, what are your thoughts on this? And before she can even speak, Britt Baker just takes away the mic from her and basically starts going off on her own spiel, right? So this then leads into the trios, the women's trios match. We had Sky Blue, Willow, Anna, Ty, Jamie, and Britt. Jamie and Britt get the win. Fine little match. Cool stuff. During this match, it was also announced that Toni Storm, who you guys know as the previous interim AEW Women's World Champion, she is now going to be recognized, or rather, her reign is going to be recognized as an actual reign. So it's no longer going to be ignored because of the interim in it. It's going to be on the record books pretty much as a champion, as AEW Women's World Champion. So that's where we're at in terms of, what's going down with the championship and all of that. So let's talk about this because I kind of feel bad for just everybody here because let's start with Thunder Rosa. I feel bad for Thunder Rosa because this was clearly not the way that we expected things to go down, okay? This was definitely not what I expected to go down. When she won the AEW Women's World Championship, I was so freaking happy, man. I felt so emotional that night. I remember coming on here on the show and just like being so happy, so excited that Thunder Rosa had won. And I was just expecting, a really great championship run. I was so ready to see Thunder Rosa become the very best AEW Women's Champion. That was my, that's what I thought we were going to see. Realistically, that's what we thought we were going to see. When the whole injury thing happened, it was very unfortunate, right? You never want to see anybody get hurt. You never want to see anybody get injured. But on top of that, there was a lot of, rumors going around and social media stuff and shots being thrown and this and that and people saying that Thunder Rosa was lying, Thunder Rosa having to come out and defend herself. So it just got really ugly at that point. It got to the point where if on social media, on Twitter, if I saw Thunder Rosa was trending or I saw Britt Baker was trending, I was just like, I'm not even going to click on that hashtag because I just know it's going to be like, a shitstorm, right? It's going to be really bad. And because I'd clicked on those things and I'd seen what was being put out there by people. And there was some stuff that was just really, really ugly, really, really nasty to both of these women, both to Thunder Rosa and to Britt Baker. And it really sucks because, it just sucks to see that, but whatever, right? So it's unfortunate how all of that went down. Now for Toni Storm, we mentioned how it seemed like there was something missing when she became champion. It was something missing. I do think that being the interim AEW Women's World Champion did take a lot away from Toni Storm when she was holding the bout. And because everybody knew, like, oh, it's the interim champion. And I don't know, but to me, that makes a difference. And I think that does make a big difference to a lot of people where it's like, well, she's the interim champion. She's not the official champion. And I do think that kind of hurt Toni Storm, which is crazy because Toni Storm was going out and she was having a lot of defenses. She had way more than Thunder Rosa. So she was, a champion. So it bums me out that they had to do the whole interim thing in the first place. I really wish that they would have just decided from the very beginning, okay, Thunder Rosa is going to be out for a bit. Let's not do the interim thing. Let's move forward with the championship. We could just relinquish the title from the beginning and go into, Toni Storm being the actual AEW Women's World Champion. So I do think that it sucks that now after that she's done being champion, it's like, oh yeah, you're going to be recognized as champion. But, in her memory bank, she was always the interim champion. So I think it really sucks for Toni Storm on that end of things. For Jamie Hayter, I also wish that this would have been done before the pay-per-view, because if they would have announced this before the pay-per-view, obviously people were already going nuts for Jamie Hayter winning the championship, but I do think it would have felt a little extra special had she been not announced as interim AEW Women's World Champion when she won the title. I do think that takes away just a little bit from that. So I'm happy that this one was solved a lot quicker than Toni Storm's, but I do wish that this would have all been done, if not before Toni Storm getting the title, but before Jamie Hayter getting the title, that they should have just taken the interim thing away. Done. So anyways, that's kind of where we're at with all of this. I'm glad that they're doing this. And from the looks of it, we're getting closer and closer to Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, especially based on just like Britt Baker literally just being all rude and stuff and taking away the microphone from Jamie Hayter. So there you go. That's where we're at with that. We got a super chat here from Jose Campos. Thank you so much to Jose, who says, in the same week, we see two mutual agreements for the greater good of sports. Ronaldo leaves Manchester United, and now Thunder Rosa relinquishing the AEW Women's World Championship. You hate to see it. Unfortunately, I don't know squat about soccer. So Jose, I'm going to take your word for it because I can't even give you an opinion on this whatsoever, on the soccer portion of this. But still, I appreciate the super chat a whole lot. Seriously, thank you so much, Jose. Shout out. All right. Let's see. We got another super chat here from Heidi Ho. It's not a bot, who says, Hayter has all the potential if they will let her cut good promos and be a badass. She does, dude. She has a vibe, and she's so chill. Holy shit, she's so chill. So during the scrum, it was my first time seeing Jamie Hayter like up close and personal, right? And she's so relaxed. Like, I don't know how to explain it. There's people that have like different vibes and different auras. I have like a Jimmy Fallon vibe where Jimmy Fallon's always like on and I'm Jimmy Fallon, right? Jamie Hayter, polar opposite. She is chill. She's relaxed. She is just calm. She got asked a question by somebody in the media that was basically a hard question to answer, because it blurred the lines between, storyline and not storyline, right? And I kind of thought like, oh, fuck, like that's a tough one for Jamie to answer. And I was just thinking like, ooh, I kind of wish that question wasn't asked just because of the way that it was. Not that the question was asked, but rather I think that the question should have been worded differently. And so Jamie Hayter, had to talk about a potential feud with Britt Baker. And I'm thinking like, you don't want to spoil the storylines, right? Like that's the thing. You don't want to spoil the storylines. And Jamie was really good at just casually steering away from that and changing the subject, but also still answering that reporter's question. She still answered whether or not she'd want to work with Britt Baker, but she kind of turned it around and said, yeah, I think that best friends, close friends, that they essentially make good feuds because of the stories that they share, because of the relationships that they share. I forget how she worded it, but she really did a freaking good job. And it was funny too, because I was watching Tony as she was answering this question. And Tony has very his facial expressions. He doesn't hide his facial expressions. You could kind of read what he's thinking, or try to think what he's thinking, or try to read what he's thinking rather. And there was a point where it almost seemed like you weren't sure which way Jamie Hayter was going to answer the question, and you just see Tony like he's got the eyes coming out and stuff. And I'm looking at him, and then she turned it around. She answered the question, and Tony was like, "Oh." He seemed pleasantly surprised that she didn't spoil anything, but she still answered the question. So either way, she's very, very chill, very relaxed. And I think that she's going to make a good champion, literally just based on that interaction alone. Thank you so much to Heidi Ho is not a bot for sending in this super chat. All righty. So let's go ahead and move on. Let's go ahead and move on from here. David Rivera says Mexicans supposed to love soccer. I didn't grow up a soccer fan. It was always, people in my house watching it, but I just never picked it up. It's like boxing too. It took me a while to become into boxing. And even then it's a little bit more rare for me to watch boxing. It's sporadic for me. But that was something that too, every month people were watching boxing at my house, or soccer, literally every week or whatever. So yeah. All right, moving on from this. And let's get into, we got a quick with the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed come out, they're doing their thing. The scissor me this, scissor me that, all of that good stuff. Jeff Jarrett comes up on the screen. Shit, I don't even know what the hell Jeff Jarrett said, because I got so distracted because the crowd was chanting TNA sucks, and it killed me. I was dying of laughter during this. And I don't even know what Jeff Jarrett said. God damn it. I know he was calling everybody ass. He was calling everybody ass. I think he pulled out Jericho saying ass clown or something. And then that was it. Sorry, I can't even give you guys a proper recap of what Jeff Jarrett actually said, because I got so distracted with the TNA sucks chants and tweeting that out. So moving along, because I suck. All right, moving to the main event. Tomohiro Ishii versus Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Now, earlier, we had somebody say that they didn't like this match. I did like this match, man. I had a good time. We had a couple of people saying they didn't like this match, actually, but I liked it. I had a good time, everyone. And so clearly, we've been seeing Chris Jericho wrestle a lot of different people. We see him wrestle Bandito. We saw him wrestle Colt Cabana. Now Tomohiro Ishii. And I gotta say that this one was up there. I mean, the Bandito one is still the very best, in my opinion. The Bandito one was freaking great. I would put this one right below it because I loved it. I thought it was fun. I love them just pretty much just going back and forth, slapping each other, chopping each other. Jericho busting out, Jericho getting busted open, bleeding from his chest, from all of that. And he's suplexing Ishii. It looks great. Ishii gets up and then he falls right back down. It was a whole thing. Great headbutt from Ishii. You guys know how I feel about really freaking great headbutts. Man, chef's kiss, man. They're the cherry on the sundae. We see Ishii do a sliding lariat, goes for the cover. It's a near fall. And for the finish, we see Ishii hit a code breaker on Jericho, and right leading up to the finish, he hits a code breaker on Jericho after Jericho had him in the walls of Jericho. And then afterwards, he finally gets him in this killer lariat, turning Jericho inside out. And then finally, this all leads to Jericho finally locking in the walls of Jericho and actually getting the win here. This was fun. I thought this was a very fun match. I loved the last couple of minutes, but even so, I loved the whole match throughout. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was a good main event. And then for the ending, we do see Chris Jericho once again eyeing Ian Riccaboni, who does great on commentary, by the way. Just shout out to Ian. And Claudio Castagnoli comes out and he basically pops Jericho with a right hand, and that's how we close out. That's how we close out AEW Dynamite. Jericho on the floor and Claudio standing above him, and Ian Riccaboni nice and safe. So there you go. We got a super chat here, and this is from Heidi Ho. It's not a bot. It says it wasn't a bad match. It was just meaningless. That's kind of how I felt about some. Like see, here's the thing. Like I didn't think it was meaningless just because Ishii is a big name, and he's not somebody that you get to see very often on AEW. While we have seen him, have some matches, it's not like we see him every week. So for me, because he's so rare to see on AEW, to me, that's why it's enjoyable. Like that's to me why it's more so in the sense of I like to see matches that you really weren't expecting you were going to see. That's where I'm at on this one. So that's why to me, it wasn't necessarily meaningless per se. And I get it. There's no more, story to that, but that's what we've been seeing like every week now with Jericho as ROH champion. So there's a story within that, but between them, not so much. And then obviously, they did touch back on, the stuff from Japan and how they knew each other and all of that. So if you want to incorporate that in there as well. But either way, I enjoyed it because I just want to see like new stuff, matches that I'm, don't get to see. That for me, that's what keeps things, exciting, right? Getting to see that. Thank you so much to Heidi Ho. It's not a bot. Alrighty. See, and someone says the Dalton Castle one was their favorite. See, that one I didn't really care for. Well, actually, I would like Bandito was definitely up there. Then Ishii. Then I would put the Castle one. I would put the Coke Cabana probably one on my very low list. I didn't think that one was very good. But I mean, that was a whole topic too in the media scrum where Nick Houseman asked Tony Khan about that, which was really great, man. But there you go. Let's see. Brandon Stark says, has Ishii or anyone else for that matter ever busted his opponent's chest on with the knife edge chops before? I've never seen this happen before. Yes, you have seen. I've seen it happen quite a few times actually with Ishii in the past with other opponents. And there you go, guys. So that is let's see what else we got. This is from Aurelio, who says, I honestly don't follow wrestling outside of the United States or Puerto Rico, where he's from. And I understand why people don't care. It's like bringing a legend from Puerto Rico to AEW. People is not a fan. I think it depends, guys, because, everybody has different, viewing habits and what they consider, what they're fans of. And so I feel like everyone is kind of a little bit different, but I do think that Ishii is a name that a lot of the AEW fans are going to actually appreciate seeing him wrestle on the show, on the main event, against somebody like Chris Jericho. I think that they do appreciate it for the most part. At least I know I did, but I do think a lot of people do as well. Alrighty, guys, there you go. That was AEW Dynamite here today, November 23rd. As always, I want to thank you guys so much, especially obviously tomorrow's Thanksgiving. So I just want to tell you guys always, I appreciate each and every single one of you for coming into the shows. You have no idea how much it means to me every time you guys come into these streams, whether it's on Tuesday for NXT or Wednesdays for AEW Dynamite. I will not be here this Friday. I know I suck, right? I won't be here this Friday because I will be on vacation, but I will be back next Friday. I will be here to talk about Smackdown and Rampage. But other than that, Tuesdays, NXT, Wednesdays, AEW, Friday, Smackdown and Rampage. And also make sure to check out the latest on F4W Online, a video series that I do where I post a bunch of news and information for the day. I put a lot of time and effort on those videos. So peep at them every now and then. And then also youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. Guys, I have officially surpassed 79,000 subscribers. I am so close to 80K. It ain't even funny. I'm practically licking it the way that Matt Jackson was licking that hammer, bro. I am almost there. So if you haven't checked out my YouTube channel, please go. All the AEW Full Gear Scrum footage is up there. Tomorrow, I'm uploading another Promo Wars video. Those are usually very fun, very different type of content. And then Friday, I have a really fun and pretty insightful interview with Taya Valkyrie. We talk about her time in WWE as Frankie Monet and all of that. So that's youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. But other than that, I will see you guys later. Have the super awesome Thanksgiving. Thank you, everybody. Bye.